Happy Sunday to all my viewers out there. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you had a great weekend so far. A beautiful Friday, beautiful Saturday. Sunday's almost coming to an end. There's still some time left over here. Hopefully, you're getting ready for tomorrow, getting ready for the week ahead. That's the point of this stream. That's why it's called the Week Ahead episode numero uno. So we're gonna have fun with this one. We're gonna look for all the opportunities that might set up for coming up in the next week over here, week of August 14th. All the earnings plays coming out, all the economic data that might be influencing the market, and anything else interesting that could help us, maybe add some extra buku bucks into our pockets over there. So I'm glad to see all of you guys over here in the chat already. Shout out to Rim Shaker with the funny joke over there. Namaste, I'ma stay for the plays. I like that one. And M Rez, glad to catch the live. Hey man, I'm happy that you were able to show up, and anyone who's here, let's have some fun with getting ready for all the movers for next week. Obviously not a lot of hot earnings still coming up on the board. We do have Walmart, TJX, Target, Home Depot, so a lot of retail stocks coming out with earnings this week. We have FOMC minutes on Wednesday. I believe retail numbers also do come out from last month and so on, from the July and July retail numbers. So a couple market events for the market to, a couple economic events for the market to move around in, and obviously with retail stocks announcing earnings and retail numbers coming out this very same week, we could see an exponential move in the sector. So why don't we dive in, look at all that. But at the end of the stream, you guys could probably hear me being a little bit sick over there. My throat's, I'm a little under the weather, so I apologize if you can hear my nasally voice patterns. But at the end of the stream, I have a little spicy little FBI levels investigation that I did over the weekend, and I can't wait to show you guys my little research over there and see what you guys think about it at the end of the stream. So for anyone who's there till the end, you get to see a little bit of craziness happening. All right, so why don't we dive in? Why don't we get started with all the stocks that are announcing earnings this week coming up ahead. Ooh, wrong web page. Let's go here and click on this one. So like I said, not too many stocks coming out with earnings tomorrow pre-market that we actually know or trade a lot. Maybe Monday, LICY sounds interesting with the EV sector super in play recently, even to the downside and upside, both directions, right? So we can take a look at that. Hut 8, which is I believe a Bitcoin mining company, so obviously we can keep that one on watch list based on how that one moves, or based on how cryptocurrencies move and how these announce earnings. We could possibly look for a trade over there. Suncor Energy, for anyone in, I believe it's Canadian, I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Canadian. Suncor Energy for anyone who's interested in trading energy stocks, as they always move around. Rumble, a streaming service, and then some random couple companies over here that I've never really traded. It's basically the middle of the week that's the most exciting for us. We got Tenet Music, not really something too traded, but C Gaming, Home Depot, NU, H&R Block sometimes brings in volume. Kava, which is a recent IPO. Couple good stocks on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got Target, Cisco, TJX, JD.com. How did I miss JD.com? I should have put JD.com on the image for the stream today. Missed out on that. But yeah, JD.com, Wolfspeed. Thursday, we got Walmart, Applied Materials, which I believe is a semiconductor, if I remember correctly. Bill.com. Billy is also in there. Billy is what I was looking for. John Deere, Xpeng, like I said, EV. I think last week we got Lucid, or the week before that Lucid, and other car companies or other EV companies announcing. So Xpeng coming out with the earnings report. And Estee Lauder companies, EL, sometimes just bring in some volume. John Deere is good to keep on watch list, but it barely does any volume, so maybe not really that much worth it. But still pretty good, decent amount of earnings coming out this week for us to take a look at and be excited for. But why don't we start off with taking a look at a couple stocks from last week that had earnings, see how they moved around, what positions can we find some trades in. It's really hot in my room. To turn my fan on over here. Turn on. Really freaking hot. Let's look for some trades off of last week's levels on stocks that had a catalyst all last week. So check, for example, Palantir, UPS, Lilly still keeps on going, and actually Eli Lilly was on my watch list for another reason that I'll bring up in a second. Upstart, absolute destruction, selling off to the downside. Rivian, we'll take a look at that one. Roblox. So why don't we start off over here with Palantir first. I'm so sick, chat. I'm actually dying. Holy. Palantir, as you guys know, sold off quite a bit off the earnings report. They actually missed on the earnings report over here, sadly, and pulled all the way back from that $20 area back to this $15 area. If I can just close this, I identified this range over here a little bit on Palantir. It looks somewhat of an interesting level. Let's also put the anchored VWAP off of the earnings low. Earnings day, and based off of that, you know, if Palantir does pull back to somewhere around the $16, $17, which we do know, we have seen it previously in the past being an absolute wall of resistance around the $17 right here, breaks out of that 17 later on, goes to 20, but then pulls back below 17, pulls back to 15, tests that support at 15. So I'm looking for a possible, you know, bounce back to that $17 area, seeing a rejection off that 17, seeing a rejection off that anchored VWAP, showing that there is still you know, somewhat of a strength in the stock. But right now the current trend of the stock is giving up the ghost, which is the overall move from $8 to $20 that the stock has had a monster run up to. Sadly, Palantir looks like it does want to eventually pull back somewhere down to the $13 ranges, trade between $15 to $13, and form a new level over here after forming a nice base for about, how long is this? May 2022 to May 2023, so almost a year. We formed the base at all-time lows for Palantir, and now with the, you know, few good positive earnings reports coming out recently, them showing that they're getting ready to make some profit, landing contracts after contracts after contracts with the governments and other companies, looking to explore how to you know, expand their AI product line that they have. Palantir overall looks still very bullish to me, but the earnings report says otherwise. The earnings report says otherwise, and hence the market sold off this position quite a bit. I'm looking for, once again, like I said, buyers to come in around the 15, but if buyers don't come in around 15, look for the stock to easily dip anywhere near the 100 period EMA on the daily chart, which is the 1370 marker. Let's say $14. Look for buyers to drop down to 14 and get some good positioning off that thing. Jordan Silva, yes, Postradamus, legend, man, you deserve a better send-off. You will kill it here once people realize you're still live. Screw Trader TV, they only want yes, man. Sorry for Streamlabs blocking your message out. I guess your message was too long for Streamlabs to let that message through, but I did read it. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support, Jordan. Let's go. Let's get back to the market here, though. So Palantir, obviously, I'm very bullish on it. That's just my personal sentiment on the stock. I would urge, obviously, to do your own due diligence, as all of this research is based on what I believe, right? I believe. All love, bro, from Kitchener Waterloo, another Canadian homie. Wow, what's up, baby? It's pretty rare that you see Canadians in this chat because, you know, all traders are mostly when I look at the YouTube data, most of them are American, and 100% of them apparently are men, which is hilarious. But yeah, most of them are American, and it's always nice to see another fellow Canadian over here. Pulling back to this watch list, let's go to Eli Lilly, because remember what I said, I found something interesting about Eli Lilly. Let's see where that interesting thing is. From a big gap, was it? Was it from a big gap or from a where'd it go? LLY. There you go. From a big gap. So obviously the earnings gap. This is a shout out to Trade Ideas. Your boys at Trade Ideas built the scanner pre-built. You don't have to do anything. You just buy Trade Ideas. It's under anchored VWAP. If you have anchored VWAP add-on, that is, you got to buy the add-on for anchored VWAP. And it automatically scans everything for you. Thank you, Michael Noss, for hooking me up with this account. And if you want help with Trade Ideas, use code TRAD15 to get 15% off. coming back to this bad boy over here, it pops up on the scanners as a anchored VWAP might be coming to test as a hold on Eli Lilly around this 516, 515 area. So we'll keep on watching Eli Lilly, which got monster bump up on the earnings day. Big volume spike too. Look at that, 15 million shares traded on day compared to like usually 5 to 2 million shares traded on the day. So monster bump up in volume, monster bump up on price also. Previously around 450, now trading above 500. So we could look for Eli Lilly to possibly show us some sort of a support around this 500 area, 515 area right there. So if you were looking at the anchored VWAP kind of was hanging out near this 515, 516 area, looking for a possible pullback to that range, show you support at anchored VWAP after making a run up to a new all-time high. So Eli Lilly, very strong over here off the earnings report. Health technology sector popping up to a new all-time high. Pretty low volume on a daily scale, I will say. Obviously, I mean, for a $500 stock, 4 million shares, it's not bad at all. But I'm guaranteeing you the spread's almost $1 on the stock, so you want to be careful when you're trading the stock. You want to wait at the right prices and points and so on. Right there, that 516 to 515 looks like an area that you might want to wait for a possible dip buy on Eli Lilly if you for some reason want to buy the highs of this company over here for a long term or for a day trade or for a swing trade. I personally would be looking to see resistances coming around these areas for a possible short, right? A new 52-week high, a new all-time high. Do we continue bursting through this, or do we pull back? And the market also has a little bit of say on that. So it depends on what the market's doing. If the market's breaking out of the highs, Eli Lilly break out of highs looks good to me. But if the market's not really breaking out of the highs, Eli Lilly showing your resistance around the highs, 515, 516 is holding, then you don't want to fight that battle either, because big buyers around 515, 516 are buying up the position around this anchored, around this anchored VWAP. So you want to be a little careful, not fight that trend also. But once we do break below that anchored VWAP, we can look for a possible trade over there. I'm looking for an example on year to date. Now let's not show year to date, but here Sovo, which had recently had another earnings. And look how the anchored VWAP now just grinds on the stock to the upper side. For anyone who's wondering what is anchored VWAP, it's basically volume weighted average price, but you're anchoring it to a certain point in time in the stock. Right now I'm anchoring it to earnings days, because those are pretty significant, right? Earnings moves bring in those hedge fund money, that institution money, that big trader money, and we want to see, are those big traders supporting that position after it makes a pop and doesn't mean reversion pullback, kind of what Buffett kind of trades off of, right? Buffett buys usually around VWAP. There's a good story about there too. Then as a Canadian, what's up, man? Kitchener, Ontario, another Canadian. I love it. I gotta show you guys the statistics. You won't believe it. The statistics show that the Canadians in my stream are like 20-30%. So I love seeing my homies in there. What I want to know is AMD is going to let me make money off the short for 11 days in a row. If AMD is going to do that, I mean, that's up to you, bro. You can take 1,000 shares in a 50-cent scalp and make money for the day and not trade AMD again, or you could take 10 shares and hold it for 3 days and make money again, right? So it really depends, up to you. Obviously the answer is yes and no. The answer is yes and no always when it comes to the stock market. How can we make that no a little bit of a lower probability and the yes a higher probability? That's all we're trying to do at the end of the day when it comes to the stock market. So let's pull back to AMD over here. Obviously AMD, my favorite stock in the stock market. I love this stock. I've been always a big fan of AMD since I was a kid. That being said, I'm running an Intel processor on my computer. Weird. But okay, coming back to the stock market over here, AMD did give up quite a bit of the ghost recently, also rejecting off that 130 area. We were hoping that off the positive earnings report over here, they would bump up. But if you guys remember watching the stream on the day of AMD earnings report, we were looking at those important metrics coming out, and AMD was basically missing on a bunch of numbers, such as the cloud numbers, consumer numbers, gaming numbers. So we were a little scared as to what could happen on AMD. Eventually the numbers did show up that way. We got to pull back to the 100 period EMA. Now I'm looking to see how the $100 price holds on AMD. We're still $7 away from it. Right, we're still $7 away from it, but AMD could easily go to the $100 area, especially how the market's been moving the last few days. Friday and Thursday, market basically sold off, and at Thursday we had a good catalyst. Thursday CPI numbers came out better, market pumped up first, and then market completely sold off. Friday, I expected no free fall Friday, and free fall Friday actually came through. So now the question is, does the market bounce up tomorrow? Is there any positive catalyst in the market? The economic calendar is a little dry for tomorrow, sadly, so nothing's really happening in the economic calendar to help the market pick a direction. And also we have F.O.M.C minutes coming out Wednesday, which is a little bit of an important catalyst because we want to see what's the tone, the tonality of what the F.O.M.C committee is going to use regarding interest rates and so on. So we want to pay attention to F.O.M.C minutes over here coming up on Wednesday. So I honestly believe, obviously this is all speculation. We don't know what's going to happen, but I believe tomorrow might be a little bit of a muted day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we might see a little bit of more moves happening, mainly because also there is no big earnings reports coming out tomorrow. No big companies announcing earnings report, a lot of small companies. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have a lot of big companies actually announcing earnings. So I'm looking to see, if the market can hold off from this descent that we're currently on. And on that note, AMD finds a little bit of a buying around this 105 106 area. 105.85 is the 100 period EMA on AMD, and if we were to go plop, where's my trade ideas? If we were to go plop anchored VWAP on AMD from the earnings day, how would that look like? So let's go take a look at that test real quick. Here's the earnings day, anchored VWAP, plop it off the earnings day move, and right now we are below the anchored VWAP, as you guys can see, the purple line, and looks like to be at some point above it, at some point below it. Now the question happens is do we bounce off the 100 period EMA like I talked about earlier near that 106 105 area, go back to the anchored VWAP near 113 112, reject that area and pull back down? Or do we just burst through and the anchored VWAP doesn't really have any say on a company so big such as AMD, because hey, this stock trades millions and millions and millions of shares every single day, right? The hedge funds can't really control a stock like AMD like they can maybe control other positions across the board. Apple, I have an interesting point about Apple that I found over here I want to go to next, because what? I didn't post this? Okay, we'll post it now. Screw it. I missed out on posting the stream live. A little too late on that one. This is the post that I was very interested reading. So Apple rebound incoming question mark. Over the last 10 years, this is a cumulative study of over the last 10 years, week by week, right? Over the last 10 years, Apple has a 100% win rate next week, providing an average return of 2.4%. Obviously, Apple's been on a major descent recently. Apple's been crashing since the earnings report, not looking that good. I mean, look at that, gapping down, pulling all the way back, pulling back to the previous mounds over here that we were holding up at. I mean, that was a pretty monster level near 175, the previous 52-week high. And then we broke that in May of this month, and then we made the new 52-week high and a new all-time high, right? So pulling back to that major level over there on that earnings report was pretty sad for investors such as myself, who's long at 142. But a healthy pullback nonetheless. Apple also managed to break that major trend line that it's been stuck in for a long period. We could also repaint that trend line somewhere down here, and you could see how that trend line, this one's a lot steeper to the upside up here, and then you can draw a new trend line coming this way perhaps. I don't really like that new trend line, I'll be honest. But you can see how Apple broke two trend lines, right? We were holding that trend line, that steeper trend line, that broke. We were holding the secondary trend line for a bit. That eventually giving up off on this day. On this day, we actually held that trend line. But on the next day after that, we just gave up that trend and pushed to a support slash resistance zone over here near 175. And now we're waiting to see, does Apple hold up? Obviously, this study over here doesn't really mean like it's 100% going to happen. Apple, for the last 10 years, on week number 33, always ends green. And it's 100% probability that it ends green because it's done so for the last 10 years. It doesn't mean it has to this year. Right, doesn't mean it has to this year, but it's an interesting way to look at the market. It's an interesting way to look at the market, interesting way to look at the stock, and looking at the like it says right here, seasonality for Apple. Yeah, looking at the seasonality for institutions and hedge funds on how they trade Apple. You know, Apple's an old company. They got shares of Apple sitting on stocks on, they got stocks of Apple sitting on shelves just collecting dust because they don't trade it anymore. It just sits there collecting dust. So how do they repurpose themselves? And also recently, Apple and the top 7 or top 5, the big 5, no, the Magnificent Seven, actually, that's their name. The Magnificent Seven and the Nasdaq had a little bit of a rebalance. So we'll like to see if that rebalance has a little bit of a weight over here on Apple or not. I'm all in on Apple, says Wayne Wang. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty interesting study, right, Wayner? I found this pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't know if how it will play out tomorrow. I'll obviously keep my eyes out on Apple, and it's around a pretty decent level too. If you look at that level near 175, a nice bounce off of 175, take us back to 178, 180, show us a resistance off of 180, and then pull back down. I'll be happy. And apparently this week it's supposed to give you a average return of 2.40%. Gap fill gang, says Wayner. Wayner is on them drugs, bro. Aren't you not playing? Go play CS:GO, buddy. Oh, did you log off just to watch my stream? Aw, you're so cute, Wayner. I love you, bud. All right, let's get back to a stock from last week's earnings over here. I want to talk about, where is it? We talked about Palantir. We talked about Eli Lilly. Let's go with Roblox, Upstart, and Disney for the next 3 stocks over here. RBLX, absolute destruction. I keep trying to go long on the stock on the options market. I keep failing at it. And at this point, I'm almost getting to that point where it's like, I think I give up on the idea because Roblox just looking horrible. Day 1, day 2, day 3. I guess I had the bounce over here, but I was, expecting a bigger bounce, and I didn't take my profits on Roblox. Something that Wayner also told me, you gotta take the profits when they show up to you. Options teaches you that. So it's I'm having fun gambling with options this week or this month so far, until I go back to trading at another prop firm. I'm having fun learning it, but it's for sure teaching me new things. So Roblox, I didn't take my profits when they got offered. I'll keep an eye out on it, but I'm not as bullish as I was around these levels. Keep in mind the stock is no longer on SSR, which means if bids want to get smashed, they could get smashed much harder and pull back much lower on Roblox over here. The 52-week low is near 25.45, let's say 25.50. So there is a good chance for the stock to pull back to that 52-week. Sorry, that's also the all-time low, 21.65, 20. No, it's not the all-time low, but pretty damn close near it. 52-week low 25, all-time low 21, and Roblox looks like it wants to get beat up over here once again. Maybe if this level doesn't show you buyers and if stock does not want to go above 31, then getting the puts to 25 would be the most logical sense over there on RBLX. So watch out for that trade over there. But if 30 does hold and the stock gets back above 30, then you're looking for that move back above 30, 31, and 32 for a possible, as Wayner just said, gap fill gang. Upstart, another stock that has been absolutely getting beat up, down 40%, I believe, on earnings day itself, pushing even more to the downside on that day. I actually had that long, but I didn't take my profits. I took that long options call 40 strike, and the stock was trading at 35. It popped up to 36. I was 50% in the money, and I didn't take it. So, I'm learning new things over here. Like I said already, I'm learning new things when it comes to options. Never really traded options before, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it, and hopefully it allows me to grow as a prop firm trader once again and get to that next tier that I want to achieve in my own career. Nice little bump up on Friday, even though Friday was an absolute slaughter gang shit. Murder gang shit, right? Absolute slop fest on slaughter fest on Friday. Markets puking to the downside on both of those days. Not really enjoying the longs on those days, and actually I'm glad that I slept in on that day. But let's go back to, where was that? UPST had a nice bounce, but that 35 area struggling at the moment. So I'm looking to see how the stock trades at that 35, possibly pulls up to 35, 36, shows your rejection, bumps not bumps, shows your rejection and pushes back below 35 and goes straight to $29. I'm looking for Upstart to push back towards those areas. They also pretty decent miss on the earnings report from what we remember. Let's go to Disney. Disney had a positive catalyst, but the earnings report was a little bit of a mixed report, right? They're losing money on Disney Plus. We knew that was going to happen. Netflix struggled for quite a bit before actually being able to make money. So Disney over here, in my books, is still a check mark for Disney Plus, because let them marinate in the sauce for a little bit. Let them lose money for customer acquisition and so on. But in my opinion, man, fighting Netflix is the hardest thing to do because of the amount of catalog they have. Anyways, coming back to Disney, mixed earnings report overall. Some things passed, some things missed. Disney's such a big company. I mean, they own they own GoPro, if you guys don't know that. They own GoPro, they own ESPN, Fox Networks. There's a really cool graphics out there. Graphic of everything Disney owns. Why is that so small? So look at this. Marvel, Fox Entertainment, Nat Geo. What is this? Endemol Shine Group. I guess they own... No clue what any of this is, but okay, cool. Hulu, we all knew that one. ESPN, somewhere down here under Steamboat Ventures, you'll see GoPro right there. Photo Bucket, I don't even know they own Photo Bucket, okay. Man, there's this, we can go forever and ever. Obviously, all the resorts that they own, Disney parks, Disney Hong Kong theme parks, and now they have a brand new deal with Penn National Gaming and Shit ESPN, Shit ESPN, whatever you want to call it. Where for 10 years, ESPN and Penn National will go into a joint partnership, allow them to start making a new app called ESPN Bet, a sports gambling application basically, where Penn apparently keeps all the money, all the user data. All they get is the naming rights to use ESPN's name for 10 years, and then a possible extension if everything works out after 10 years over there. So it's just a naming deal, looks like. Let's talk about what the possible DraftKings idea is, right? DraftKings paid a lot of money to advertise on all these sports. Are you telling me ESPN is just going to go tell NBA, NFL, UFC, you cannot no longer take DraftKings money if you want to host your channel on ESPN? Dana White's not gonna like that. So I'm interested in seeing what happens over here with this ESPN betting app and how they're going to advertise it, and if they're going to over advertise their own betting app in front of FanDuel and in front of DraftKings and so on, kind of hurt their own revenue by advertising, right? Advertising revenue is their main revenue, and if they're not making any money from this Penn National gambling side, they're only making money the initial investment that Penn gave them, whatever money it is for that naming rights, then they're gonna be losing money in the long term over here off of advertisement. So I don't know how it's gonna really work out. I'm very skeptic about this ESPN Bet app, and also me being the betting degen, gambling degen that I am, I'll use the ESPN bet app until they give me promotions and so on. After they're done giving me those promotions, I'm not using that app again. I'm an anti-ESPN guy. You guys know that. I'm an anti-ESPN guy. So I'm pretty skeptical about all this deal. What does that reflect for Disney? Obviously, I think Disney people are getting really bullish about Disney because of that deal specifically, and also Disney, Bob Iger's return kind of helped it, but then ruined it. The Writers Guild Association strike that's happening is also hurting Disney at the moment. What does this all mean for Disney? Honestly, I think there is upside here for Disney, right? There is upside here for Disney. But I need them to turn that dividend back on. I need them to turn that dividend back on. And if you zoom back here on Disney, we're actually at COVID lows, right? Not many stocks I could say are actually at COVID lows and holding that at the moment. So Disney at COVID lows. If these COVID lows hold, then obviously, you're looking for a great investment for the long term around this $85-$80 area. But if this COVID lows don't hold, then you are possibly looking to close your position because the stock maybe goes more down. But you know what kind of news Disney requires to go down here, man? Like bad news, bad news. And we're not really seeing that environment show up like that. So I'm pretty bullish over here. I would personally like to see Disney turn on that dividend again. That would make me buy Disney, right? So we'll see what happens over here. Both DKNG, Penn Gambling up on great earnings, but ESPN, yeah, DKNG did pop up on good earnings report, but they sold off right after that because of the ESPN deal. I mean, DKNG on Friday, if I remember correctly, or not Friday, the Thursday when the news dropped, big drop to the downside. Actually bounced off of my average price on that position. Wow, what? I like to see that. I love to see that. So that's the earnings. No, that's not. This is the earnings move up. This is a new range. Looks like we might find some resistance around $30 on DKNG. Chat, I'm sick. And I'm screaming for you guys. I love you guys. Baba, let's talk about Baba real quick. Baba also had earnings, made that bump all the way up to 103, but then rejected off of 103. I'm interested in seeing how this 103 area plays out, man. 103 breakout, we got 108, we got 120. Lot of upside on Baba. We know China number one. Is Wayne still in the chat? He's probably playing CSGO right now. China number one, Taiwan number one. Whatever number one is at the end of the day, Baba will most likely try to follow them. Baba did sell off on Friday though. Good earnings report, made that bump up to 103. Baba's been struggling with negative catalyst after negative catalyst, and finally some good catalysts coming out helping them over here. Now, let me show you earnings reports for tomorrow, right? Home Depot, Target, JD.com, Walmart tomorrow. For next week, sorry, this week coming up, we got Walmart, Applied Materials, XPeng. We still got EV sector on the board over here. So absolute fire. Still lots of stocks to have some fun with. Don't worry, earnings season's not running away anytime soon. Don't get scared. We're gonna have a lot of stocks to still talk about. Let's go to a couple other interesting tweets that I found over the weekend over here real quick. Shout out to your boy Michael Noss. Michael Noss posted this picture. Pins held anchored VWAP from the May lows on Friday. So he put an anchored VWAP on Pinterest, which also recently had its earnings report. Positive earnings report, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. It's possibly negative because they did push down over here. As you guys can see right there, our friend Michael Noss actually has some sort of an alert over here at $26. I'm baiting the scene out right now. I'm sorry, Michael Noss, if you're watching this at the moment, but I'm letting everyone know where your alert is. He has some sort of alert at this $26 price, possibly for a breakthrough long of 26 to get long over there. Watch out for Pinterest, looking to currently hold the anchored VWAP from May 2023 lows. Another interesting stock that he posted, SoFi. His alert at SoFi looks to be around 870. Around 870. Another stock that has been holding from the lows over here, SoFi, good catalyst so far on earnings report for SoFi. They did make that run up to 12, but then sadly pulled back. These guys, though, are holding anchored VWAP at multiple points. Look at this. They held over here. They held over here. Didn't really push down. So move past 870 to the long side. Looks good. Shout out to your boy again, Michael Nas. I'm not trying to steal his trade ideas. I like his trade ideas, so I'm just pointing them out to you guys. Make sure you go follow him. Make sure you go check him out. His page has absolute gold every single day. I love what he shows to you guys. I can't wait to have him on the stream over here one day for you guys to explain more about Anchor VWAP. Maybe I bring him to my house one day and have an in-person podcast, right? But here's another stock that he posted. Gold, GLD, on the dailies, holding anchored VWAP at multiple points. Looking at 177 area at the moment, I guess 177 to 175. Look for gold to hold all anchored VWAP moves all the way up to the north side as we keep making those moves up. Shout out to your boy Michael Nas. Shout out to your friends at Trend Spider, also posting this interesting study over here about Apple. I found that pretty cool. Shout out to both of them. Now, the spicy part of the stream that everyone is impatient for. You guys ready for it? What the hell is this? If you thought I was watching, anything inappropriate, I wasn't. It's this is what I was watching. Okay, this is what I was watching. Don't say you caught me watching something inappropriate. See, I got video games, stock market, video games, stock market, UFC. All right, let's go here. I wanna get into a little bit of a deep dive. All right. I don't know what took me here. I'll be honest. I don't know what got me here. I don't know how I got here at all. But we got here. Let's talk about Surge Trader. How legitimate is Surge Trader? And would I trust them with my money? How legitimate is Surge Trader? And would I trust them with my money? So I started looking at a lot of advertisements from Surge Trader on my Instagram. Every day I would see this white lady show up on my Instagram talking about Surge Trader, and I thought she was just some random model that they hired to promote Surge Trader, some news anchor maybe of some sort. I was wondering, who's this lady? Because if you're a CEO of a company who's trying to, promote stock market and trading, I doubt you'd be posting pictures like this. Right? Because what CEO of a stock market or a broker posts pictures like these? They're usually a lot more serious. And this one, for example, like this, for example, was a Surge Trader advertisement. There's nothing about trading in there other than the fact that it's a Surge Trader. There's no traders, no computers, no anything. They're just selling you this whole fugazi dream of hey, sign up with us and you'll get rich, you'll be on a boat, you'll be on a yacht, you have all these beautiful ladies if you trade with us and put your money with us, right? Look, this was an instantly in my head. I said, something's wrong with this picture. Something's wrong with this picture. So I started Googling this lady. Who is this lady? What does she do? Turns out she's actually the CEO and founder of Surge Trader. Shout out to her. A woman who's killing it in the market. I'm very happy to see that, and is doing big things on the 40 under 40 apparently. Shout out to her. But I still found something fishy. I wasn't buying it. I don't buy it. So I kept digging. I mean, once again, this advertisement is just ridiculous. There's nothing about trading in this advertisement. Don't buy it. Kept digging. After doing some digging on it, I got blocked. Ah! blocked me, chat, for calling her out. I just got blocked by her. That is hilarious. All right, so take a look at this. So I found an article about Brent Seaman. Who's Brent Seaman, you might ask? I found an article about Brent Seaman. Turns out Brent Seaman is actually married to none other than Jana Seaman from Search Trader. Ah, okay. Now, why is Brent Seaman, that's right, Seaman, important? A Florida man and a wife found their victims, found their victims, what? What is even this article? Screw this article. Okay, there we go. SEC charges Florida resident with operating a $35 million Ponzi scheme that targeted church members. If you keep reading this a little bit more, you'll see somewhere down here, right here, Valo Holdings LLC and Surge Capital Ventures LLC. Okay? And all fraud defendants have consented to a bifurcated settlement without admitting or denying the commission's allegations and subject to court approval, under which they will be enjoined from the violating and the charge provisions of a federal securities laws. And Seaman will be barred from serving as an officer or director of any SEC reporting company. Hence, his wife is now the founder and CEO, and he's not allowed to do anything, and he is actually the mastermind. Brent Seaman is actually the mastermind behind the original Ponzi scheme and the original company Search Trader, and he's not allowed to work there anymore. So, everything is under his wife, Jana. Jana has agreed to pay $700,000. Valo Group has agreed to pay $600,000. The SEC investigation was part of a Miami office fraud against minority groups and so on and blah, 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 blah. So here is me going Pradzilla mode. I went full Pradzilla on this one. And I might actually, you know how you said hit up CoffeeZilla? Yeah, I might actually hit up CoffeeZilla here. Yo, I was not banned by this person until yesterday. I will tell you that I was not banned by this person until last night. Just goes to show. Why would you ban me? If I was not in the wrong and I'm not calling you out and you were actually all legitimate, why would you ban me? Let's see if her husband blocked me also. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Let's see if Search Trader blocked me. Let's go, chat! We're getting somewhere! We're getting somewhere, baby! We're freaking getting somewhere! This is what we're trying to do. We're getting somewhere. We're calling out the scams. We're calling out the lies. We're calling out the fakes. Can't catch me, son! Woo! Hey, Search Trader, call me. If you want your name cleared, call me. If not, I'll see you through CoffeeZilla, baby. Chat, that was a great episode. That was a great finish to a great episode. I did not think this would end this way. We might be onto something. Search Trader, I'm on to you. I'm on to you. I'll see you soon, CoffeeZilla. Chat, thank you for coming. Go have a great time. Have a great rest of your Sunday. I for sure will. Let's get cracking on the market. Join our Discord, join our Twitter, join all of our social medias. All the links in the description below. I love you guys. Peace. Oh, do I have cheese on Day Trade the World? No, I'm joking. I still work for Day Trade the World. I don't got any cheese on them. But one day, no, I'm joking. Good night.